Right, 12 July 2024. And today I'm excited to be giving you guys my morning update for this Friday, the 12th. And this is very, very quick. It's going to be a quick update. And I want to start with what is happening in the news. And we all know that Auxilia Mnangagwa has been traveling in Belarus. And unfortunately, things are not going well for Auxilia Mnangagwa in Belarus. She has failed to meet any senior government officials, and she has not been able to strike any deals. So previously, when Auxilia went to Belarus, she was met by very high-ranking officials, including people who are in the presidency. But right now, she has only been able to meet people like the former mayor of I think it's Minsky, and she has not been able to have any deals. You have seen what I showed you, that she's traveled separately from the other women that were traveling in the group. So this trip has been one of the worst trips by Auxilia Mnangagwa. And yesterday she was forced to justify herself as to why she's doing that trip. And she has also said that she has got no political ambition. So for the first time, Auxilia Mnangagwa has said she's got no political ambitions. However, it's very strange that the first lady of a country can lead a delegation to a different country, which cannot be explained. You cannot explain why Auxilia Mnangagwa is the one that is going to these countries and leading a delegation. So I want to show you what she said yesterday. Then we'll move on to the next news item.
Zvinoita kuti ndavapi navapi vangapinda mazviri zvichibatsira chii. Saka ipapa takauya namadzimai ari mubhizimisi makasiyana siyana vachibva zvakare kumaprovinsi edu akasiyana siyana kuti vazokwezva shamwari dzavo dziri kuno kuti dzichii chavangaita pamwe chete kuitira kuti vagova nekushandidzana kweBelarus neZimbabwe. Hatisi kutaura nyaya dzepolitics ka apa, tokutarisa nyaya yedevelopment yaamai, development yebasa rinokwanisa kuitwa namadzimai, development yavanozounza munyika, nekuti munyika munofamba zvakanaka, mune mabhizimusi, munouya ari kuita ichi, hamuna mhiri shonga.
Right, so I just showed you the Auxilia Mnangagwa speaking. She is in Belarus, and her trip has flopped. Nothing has come out of that trip. And it's becoming clear that she can also not run as a presidential candidate. She's now talking as the UN gastronomy ambassador and so forth. She has dropped the title of SADC tourism ambassador, women's ambassador, parliament, and so forth. So she's no longer saying all those things. And eventually, you're going to see the whole thing fizzling out. A campaign has stopped before it even started. But I think the whole issue is about investment, why there's no investment coming to Zimbabwe. And the main reason is the ZiG currency right now. The currency, there's a lot of uncertainty around the currency. And yesterday, businesses have called on the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe to release the notes. Because as you know, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has not released the notes. And let me show you what an economist said in Zimbabwe, that the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is making people lose confidence in the ZiG. Because currently, if you walk around Zimbabwe, people are not able to transact. There is no change. And when people go into the taxis, they have to share. So you have to travel, the two of you, so that you can share the dollar. So the price of taxes has actually gone up. So let me show you what the businesses said. And I then want to show you what is happening with the ZiG.
If the government communicated a roadmap to be followed around introduction of the currency, that roadmap must be met, and that increases the confidence.
Right, so what happened is the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe said they will release various notes. That is the 20, the 50, the 100, and I think the 200. And currently they've not done so. There's a massive shortage of change in the market. People in areas like Bulawayo, Gwanda, and Matabeleland, there are people that have never seen the ZiG. So what the ZiG looks like. However, what they're doing is they're releasing a massive number of fake ZiG, what I call fake ZiG, which is electronic ZiG, which is being traded by banks and other people who've got connections. So they release these fake zigs, which they then trade, and these accounts are deleted. So it's a case of fraud. That is why they're not releasing the real zig. The real cash zig is the one that has got value, but that is not currently being released. And let me show you what's happening with the zig so that you understand. When you're trading currency, there's something called higher lows and high high. So the zig, what has happened with the zig is that the zig is making what we call higher highs and higher lows. So when you talk of a higher high and a higher low, so this is from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. This is the official rate. They've not changed it. They've been telling people that the zig is stable. But in reality, the black market is making what we call higher highs and higher lows. So if you see, it started at 15 on the black market, it went all the way up to 20. And when it went to 20, they started to arrest people, right? So that was just in a few days here. It went up to 20. They started to arrest people. And in Forex trading, that is called manipulation. When you do something to manipulate the Forex, it's called manipulation. And then it went into what we call a consolidation. So a consolidation is when the currency is doing nothing. So right now it's between 17 and 20. It's consolidating in between here. And when it breaks this consolidation, it's going to shoot up to another high. So the next time you look at the zig, it's going to go way up. Like I always explain, you're going to see a big jump of the zig because there's too much supply of the electronic zig, and there is not enough US dollars in the market. And also, because the money is not enough to meet demand, they will have to pump out a lot of money. And if they don't do so in terms of cash, we're going to have a problem of acceptability of the zig. The zig is going to be something that is not part of the trading basket. So people are not familiar with the zig. If you come to a country like Zambia here, you will never have a shortage of cash. And the money is not dropping in value. It's still, the money is doing well because you can walk to any ATM and withdraw. If you go to South Africa, it's the same. If you go to Botswana, it's the same. The problem with Zimbabwe is there has been cash shortages for the past 20 years. You cannot withdraw cash in the ATM. And they feel as if the currency is strong, that means they're not doing well. That's not true. Your currency doesn't have to be strong. You can have a currency that is weak. What you need in your currency is stability and predictability. So your currency must be predictable, what it's going to do, and so on. So you can't have a situation where your currency is just strong for no reason. So the Zimbabwe zig, they want it to be strong, but for no reason. That is the problem. Then let's quickly go into other stories there. And I want to look at the Actuarial Society of Zimbabwe. This is very interesting. The Actuarial Society of Zimbabwe has named their board. So let me remove that banner so that you guys can see who is in the board. So the Actuarial Society of Zimbabwe is very important because these are the guys who determine your pensions and the value of your life insurance and so forth. On my screen here, you've got some of the smartest people in Zimbabwe. So these guys are really smart. They know maths. That is Prosper Matiashe, who is now the president. Patrick Gombe, who is the Secretary General, and Treasurer General is Blessing Thousand. Although I would have wanted Blessing to be the president, I want women mostly to be the president because women tend to do much better in this kind of position. But I know that in your face right now, you're looking at some of the most smartest people in Zimbabwe. I hope that these guys are able to put in place what they've said. They say they want to look at the policy framework around Zimbabwe because the insurance sector is full of fraud. They are fraudulent. IPEC has said that there is a lot of fraud in this sector, and some insurance companies have been fined for trying to defraud their clients. They've also refused to provide data for their clients to be compensated. As I said a few days ago, this sector of insurance in Zimbabwe has got some of the biggest problems ever. And the Actuarial Society of Zimbabwe needs to do much better. They need to be more vocal about what's happening in Zimbabwe. Then there is a senior position here at Prince Floor. So Prince Floor is looking for a chief executive officer. So if you want to be a chief executive officer, you can go over here and try to get yourself a job as a CEO. These jobs are very important. If you are a senior person, try to get these jobs. You can easily get them, and if you apply here. Then in the entertainment story, I saw my brother Sharuko has released this story. So on your screen, you're looking at Matthew Msengezi. Matthew Msengezi is a flamboyant Zimbabwean car dealer and socialite. Msengezi has been in jail for the past week. He has been in jail for the past week because of a hit and run accident which occurred on 9 August 2021. Msengezi is being accused of fleeing the scene of the accident when his Range Rover side-swapped a Toyota Mark X, resulting in the death of Gregory Zamba. He's been around and he was being seen, Matthew Msengezi was being seen around, and he was not being arrested because he was not crossing senior powerful people in ZANU-PF. However, in the past few months, Matthew Msengezi has crossed some very powerful people in ZANU-PF, which has resulted in his arrest and current incarceration. He's being incarcerated, and judgment in this case will be delivered next week. So we've got a serious problem developing here because this appears to me like a politically motivated case. I know that there was a death in this case, and probably Matthew had run away from this whole thing. However, my belief is that the justice system in Zimbabwe is currently being manipulated. If you're in the right direction or if you're with the right people, you won't get arrested. And as soon as you cross the wrong people, you get arrested. So this is what has happened to Matthew Msengezi here. He crossed the wrong people, and you can Google what has happened with some deals that he had with senior ZANU-PF people, which has resulted in him being arrested right now. And this is a good 3 years after the incident, which means he has done something to somebody, and this has become a problem. Then I want to recap on what has been happening this week. We've got massive cases that have happened that nothing has happened to it. So take, for example, Wikno Chivayo, Priscilla Chugumba, Scott Sakupanya, Moses Mpofu, and Mike Chimombe. This case is hanging. Nothing has happened there. And then we've got the case, obviously, of the arrested activists and opposition MPs. I'm not sure what has happened there. Yesterday, I was myself out of action. But these guys have been in jail for a very, very long time, and timber for no reason. And we have the current investigations into the break-ins into the houses of Auxilia Mnangagwa, Vimbai Mnangagwa, and Emerson Mnangagwa. There's been break-ins at their homes. Nothing is moving there. And these cases are up in the air. And let me quickly look at the newspaper. Let's see if any newspaper has published. You can always check the latest newspapers. In Zimbabwe, Friday is got the most newspapers. So let's look at what the Herald is saying, the Herald newspaper of Zimbabwe. Then we'll take it from there. I'm going to be giving you guys an update on our next steps. So let me just get out of Zambia first. Then we're gonna take the next step. There is a lot that is going to be happening going forward. And I want you guys to understand that without proper planning, our country is not going to do well. So we need to take responsibility for our country and the future of our country. Mnangagwa has said he's going to step down. So what we need to do is to make sure that we don't let this country go in the wrong direction. So we need to have an influence on what is going to happen. And I want to now wait. I won't say anything more here, but all the guys in the group, in the groups, starting tomorrow, we're going to be starting a new program. We're going to be looking at how we proceed. I'm very grateful that everyone was engaged. And I'm very happy with the guys from CC, the guys from Blue Movement. There was a good collaboration which took place behind the scenes. And what we now need to do is we need to have a new program. And that will result in me being in Zimbabwe between the 17th and the 30th of August. I need to be over there giving you guys coverage because most of the things are not being covered. And this needs to be sorted. So I'm going to start with what has happened tonight in the Herald newspaper. There has been some more recalls. So I want to show you who has been recalled. Sengezo Shabangu is continuing with the recalls. So ZEC has issued a statement, and I'm going to put this statement up. Let me do it right now so that you guys can see who's been recalled. And this is crazy. I cannot believe that these recalls are continuing. So let's look at the Herald newspaper right now. And I want to display for you guys. So just give me a second to display. So more people have been recalled. And the people that have been recalled here, let's go into the actual newspaper because my eyes are chembere in Bijan. Sometimes I can't see these moments. So, nominated persons to party list vacancies in local authority. So, Mpande Virginia has been recalled, and Sibanda Judith has been recalled. And the nominated person. So what they did, they removed Mpande Julia and Mpande, they put Mpande Virginia. Then they removed Dube Nolia and put Sibanda Judith. So these are the recalls. And you can check this out in the Herald newspaper. Then let's look at other things that are happening here. State-assisted funeral for Mairuizi. Mairuizi has received a state-assisted funeral. And then in terms of ZEC, I want you guys to look at this advert. It's very important, which is coming from ZEC, another advert from ZEC. So there are two adverts from ZEC, and we need the right people at ZEC. Currently, we've got the wrong people at the ZEC. So they are looking for HR director. So if you're an HR and you think that you can do a good job, apply at ZEC. You're going to see that there's a job here at ZEC for the HR director. So let me display that for you once again. So currently I'm displaying the recalls. So let me display for you the HR director for ZEC. So ZEC is looking for an HR director, and the commission wishes to recruit a professional of high integrity with good communication and decision-making skills and sound knowledge of electoral democracy to fill the post of Director Human Resources that has arisen in the organization. So that is ZEC. They're looking for a Director of Human Resources. So two main vacancies that I've shown you today, CEO and then Director of ZEC. These are high-level positions. You drive a big, massive car. You've got school fees for a kid. You've got holidays in South Africa. And you get to have a massive office overlooking building, shake. That is where your office is going to be. When I'm in Harare, I always sleep at that hotel there. So that, because I know the Zambia guys don't spy on each other. That's why I go over there. Then let's see if there's anything else interesting in business and sports. I want to show you guys what is in the Herald newspaper. And the other issue that I forgot to tell you about is the Starlink. So what happens to Zimbabwe is a story comes out, it becomes hot, and then suddenly it just goes dead. Like it simply goes dead. There's nothing that is heard or said about it. I don't understand what happens. So when we're Starlink, they came out and talked. They're going to be going live, but then nothing has happened after that. They're going to be starting to sell. Because what we want to do is we want to put 10 Starlink kits in each province. We want to put one kit in one of the most busiest areas so that people can have access. We're going to put one in Harare. We're going to put one in Bulawayo. We're going to put one in Masvingo, in all these provinces, so that people can have access, and we can also assist in making sure that people have got access. And Gambakwe Media has been supported ever since we started. It's been supported by everyone. And as I said, right now we're actually currently being supported by you guys who are watching here. all my trips are paid for by guys on this platform. The small amounts of donations that we make, the $50, $100, is making us go around. And eventually, we need to build a very powerful media, but we don't want to end there. We want to go into homecoming. Homecoming is where you guys come home. You cannot be staying in those countries where you're staying. So we want to make it a very important part of all the policies of Zimbabwe. When dialogue comes, I'm going to be there at the dialogue. We're going to push the new government that is coming to make sure that they make a formal program for Zimbabweans to come back home. We don't want our people living in the millions in foreign countries. So when there's going to be dialogue in Zimbabwe, you're going to see me there. So Zekuti Gambakwe asvike muZimbabwe muna August hazvitomboiti, because there can't be a dialogue without me there representing the people in the diaspora to say we want people to come back home so that they can thrive in their own country. So we need to formally push this. Other countries have done it. South Africa had a homecoming program where the South African government assisted people to come back home. That's one country where many people had left. In Zimbabwe, it needs to be formal. When someone comes back home, they need to have a house, they need to have a job, the economy must work. So we need to make sure that we push the Zimbabwe government, the new government that is coming. Mnangagwa is leaving. Mnangagwa has already said he's leaving. So you can always forget about Mnangagwa. He's gone. The next people that are coming are supposed to do the right thing. The next person that is coming in Zimbabwe is going to do so well because it's easy. You just have to stop everything that is currently happening now. The policies of Mnangagwa are very, very bad. They're the ones that are pushing us in this wrong direction. So let's look at the Chronicle newspaper. Today I want to go a little bit longer. Let's see if there's anything in the Chronicle newspaper. The Chronicle newspaper is not published. Manika Post, because today is a Friday. Let's see what Manika Post is saying. Nothing in Manika Post. Newsday, let's see what Newsday is saying. Newsday Zimbabwe is saying, okay, this, I won't read the words, but that disease is back. That causes you, which is Umbani, it's back. And be careful. The UN has warned people not to be complacent because that disease is back. So you know what that means, guys. And then the High Court has postponed the hearing of 77 opposition members, including Timber, to Tuesday next week. This is cruelty of the highest order, arresting people because of no reason. And then I've got an interesting story here. 2 Harare lawyers in fraud with Frank Buyanga. I want you guys to look at this story. This is very important because Frank Buyanga has been incarcerated in South Africa after crossing across the Mnangagwa family. He is incarcerated right now in South Africa. So let's read what they're saying here so that you guys can understand. Controversial South Africa-based businessman Frank Buyanga has been dragged into a 500,000 fraud involving 2 Harare lawyers. Martin Murimira Rambewa of Mapaya and Partners and Shakespeare Kurua, a conveyancer with Kurua and Associates, were remanded out of custody to September 3, pending finalization of the investigation. The 2 appeared before Harare magistrate Marehwa Nazo Gofa on Wednesday and were granted $100 bail each, pending further investigating. The complainant is Mona Lisa Investments, represented by Chamnor Wansika. Prosecutor Mutsokoti alleged that sometime in June 2009, Matsika, a coordinator of Mona Lisa Investments, got a 30,000 loan from Frank Buyanga, the director of Hamilton Property. An agreement of so was entered into, and Lot 1 and Lot 2 of Muvagazi in Urungwe North, Urungwe, worth 500,000 was offered as collateral. Sometime in November 2009, Matsika made the efforts to pay back the debt, but discovered that Buyanga's office had been closed. It is alleged that Matsika came across an article in one of the daily newspapers saying Buyanga was on the run after having defrauded 42 people. Matsika approached the deeds office to check the status of his property, and he discovered that it had been changed in favor of Hamilton Property Limited. So let's look at this case. 2009, November. That is when Matsika discovered that his property had been changed. And then sometime June 2009, Matsika had taken a loan of 30,000 from Buyanga. However, he did not pay the loan. So these are the facts here of this case. But you can go and read this case. Obviously. Frank Buyanga has had a massive fight with the Mnangagwa family. And this has been well documented. I've gone through this story many, many times. I've shown you what has happened until he got arrested and is now stuck in a jail in South Africa. So Buyanga crossed the Mnangagwa family, and this is something that you cannot do if you're not willing to go the distance. But I have a feeling, Kuti, where we're going, the shoe is gonna be on the other side. The Mnangagwa family is going to be made to run. They've got so many enemies now, and the break-ins that you're seeing, I have a feeling that it's related to what is happening with crossing all these people all over the country. There's some very powerful people who are going after the Mnangagwa family, and it's documented. The police have issued statements, and these are some of the things that we are talking about. In business, OK Zimbabwe has for the first time failed to pay a dividend, and Edgar's is now going into the Mapero business. They're going to be competing with the street sellers. Then let's see if there's any other newspaper here that is published that I've not looked at. I know there's a business newspaper. Let's see if the business newspaper is published here in Zimbabwe. So there's a Zimbabwe newspaper that published on Friday. It gives newspapers updates on all the business stories. So I want to check if they're published. This newspaper is called Business Weekly. So Business Weekly is quite interesting because I rarely read that newspaper. But let's see what they're saying this week. What I just said now, they're talking about it. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is not providing money in the market. So let's look at what they've said here. And this is crazy. I don't know what the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is doing, not releasing cash on the market. So here's the story. And it says here, casualties unavoidable as liquidity challenges persist. So this is crazy. The way these guys are failing to release money onto the market. You can go and read that story. It's a Business Weekly. That's I think it's owned by Zim Papers, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously, Zimbabwean remittances have grown. Money from the people living in the diaspora has grown. There's a lot of it coming in. And I don't want to read the full newspaper. They will be very angry if I do that. But you can go and check out this newspaper. This is one of the big business newspapers in Zimbabwe. I think this used to be called the Financial Gazette, if I'm not mistaken. But let's look at this story of the ZIG. Guys, this is very serious. Every newspaper is talking about this. Persistent shortage of ZIG cash continues to hurt citizens. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is lying to the people that the ZIG is strong. That thing is weak and it's continuing to drop. It's currently in a fake manipulation consolidation, but it's going to parabolically crash as we go because they cannot continue to hide the ZIG. But look at all the newspapers. There's no single newspaper in Zimbabwe that is not talking about the shortage of the ZIG. So we're in a crazy situation. The policies of Mnangagwa, they're jobera or joiniza. That is what we call, like when a child does not understand in school. Nyora. That is what Mnangagwa is doing. Nyora mbuku. Understanding. We need a solution here. We cannot have an economy that is run on black magic, and I don't know what else. Black magic economics of voodoo. That is what Mnangagwa is doing. Voodoo economics, and it's destroying our country. Mnangagwa is destroying our country. Mnangagwa arukuraiva mnenzara. So, guys, I would like to thank you very much for all your support. Overnight, we have received some more money, but what we need to do now is we need to obviously raise enough money so that we can move around. This thing needs us to financially support it. The biggest problem we have now is there's no funding. Simple funding for people to move around. We need to have to support the efforts that we're doing here. I'm going to be in Zimbabwe on the 17th of August. We need to raise the FA. We're going to start that effort now. And guys, if you don't see me pachitwa dialogue, apana dialogue you know it because who is going to communicate it to you? So let's make sure that I'm over there, and let's make it clear kuti ana Mnangagwa inini ndikasvika muZimbabwe handibatwi ndinoita zvinhu zvangu ndobuda ndoenda kuSouth Africa ndodzoka hatidi ma-problems nemi ana Mnangagwa. And I'm not making this as a joke. This is serious. Pandinofamba free, and it must be like that, because I'm going to be part of the people that are communicating the issues around dialogue, everything that is happening. So even if they don't agree with what I'm saying, and I'm Mnangagwa, they cannot arrest me or detain me or prevent me from doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to be going that side. So guys, it's up to you to make sure that we fund this effort, and we need a strong citizen group. My citizens are diaspora. We need to be strong. The reason why our country has not been doing well is because we've been delegating this thing to other people. We've been waiting for Chamisa to do something. We've been waiting for the opposition to do something. Whereas we're there, we have created the necessary structures, and we've got the necessary groups to back each other up. So now I'm here now, and you know what has happened yesterday. So I need to ndibude Zambia. Saka chigadzirai papfumojournal.com tinofanira kuraise enough money kuti tichinje matickets edu tibude muno muchakanaka pasati paita ma-problems, and then tozodila nemamwe issues kwedu kuZimbabwe. So we've tried obviously kuti muite demonstration in a foreign country, tichida kucover that demonstration, but pakaita ma-problems nezuro akawanda handisingakwanisi kutsanangura iko zvinhu izvi, tichazomatsanangura kana Cape Town. But what we want to do is we need to make sure that we are very strong. The government must not take us for granted. The government of Mnangagwa must not take us for granted. And the government of Mnangagwa must not continue to arrest people and detain them and keep them in jail. They must release those people. The people who have been arrested and not timber, they must be released. Mnangagwa cannot keep arresting people and locking them up. The money changers, there are over 500 money changers in jail. Mnangagwa must release those people. The touts, almost 1,000 people, they must release those people. Mnangagwa has arrested over 20,000 touts over the past 3 months in preparation for SADC. That is diabolical. So it can't be allowed to do that, and Mnangagwa must be stopped. And the behavior, it's not okay. And we must be very, very strong. We don't want these things, and the demands must be made by all citizens. We want a normal country that functions. That is very, very important. Right. So I would like to thank all of you. Mkoma Peter Tosh, I'm delivering my comments these days. I don't know what has happened to you. Mkoma Peter Tosh used to be normal, but now when I asked some authorities granting you permission to protest, said not to us. So what happened? I told you that I can't talk about these things now. Okay, please don't ask me questions when I'm okay. So don't ask me those questions. I got the answers, but I can't answer them right now. And then Uncle O says, Auxilia is the reason why we are suffering. She's very greedy and ruthless. She controls what happens in the government. Yeah, Auxilia Mnangagwa, she is too much. Although she makes me laugh every time I see Auxilia, I cannot help but break into laughter because she tries so hard. But she's actually making a big problem for the Zimbabwe government. But guys, these are minor issues. Where we're going, the Mnangagwa family is out. They're going to be out of the government. Mnangagwa has already said he's going to step down. And I want to show you what he said. So don't think this is a joke. We're in a new era, the post-Mnangagwa era. That is where we are now. Let me show you what Mnangagwa said last week.
So my last 5 years, chapera manji. Ndenda kunozorora. Toenda ku Congress moswaka umwe. Anotungamira achitevezera tsoka dzangu. Mazviwa? Mazuva angu okuzorora vapedo. tichaenda kunozorora toenda kukongresi motsvaka anotevedza tsoka dzangu dzamunhu mutapa mazvinzwa ndakurumai nzeve.
Right, so Mnangagwa is gone, guys. If you don't understand this, this is the first time that a president of Zimbabwe has said he's going to step down. You don't reverse that statement. It's not possible. There are people right now who are preparing to get into office. What we want is to make sure that the guys who are coming in, they allow us to have strong systems. Zimbabwe is going to be one of the best countries. Come to Zambia here and you see what I'm talking about. This country is laying a foundation for one of the strongest economies in Africa. You're going to see Zambia is going to become very, very strong. In fact, they're strong now. The retail is doing quite well. All they need to do is to raise the buying power of the citizens. So currently the limiting factor for Zambia is the buying power of the citizen. They've got quite a low buying power, but everything else, the infrastructure is there, the strong systems are there, the country is doing very well. So in Zimbabwe, what we want is a strong banking sector, because currently that is where we're failing. Our banking sector is a mess, starting at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. You've got no currency, you've got corruption, you've got the banking sector involved in black market activities. So that has to stop. Once your banking sector is fine, you're going to see what is going to happen in Zimbabwe. Then you want to have electronic payments. So currently in Zimbabwe, there's no electronic payments. The market in Zimbabwe is too much on the primary sector. I think you've heard my professor speaking about this. There's too much primary sector in Zimbabwe. Farming, agriculture, mining. That's not enough. You need a lot of stuff happening in the pension funds industry, in the investments industry, in entertainment, in media. Those are the kind of things you need. And then you need freedom and human rights. Currently, they're all over the place, causing chaos, arresting people. What is happening right now with the arrest of the people? We don't want that. That is what will make our country amazing and great. How many Zambians do you hear now saying that I want to leave Zambia and go overseas? When they go, they're going there for a season, they come back. Because you can build a house here, you can do well in your country, you can build in a rural village. In Zimbabwe, you can do no such thing. The only way you can succeed is to leave the country. So we need to be very strong, and we need to push government Mnangagwa so that Mnangagwa cannot continue with what he's doing. Mnangagwa is messing up very, very badly in our economy. And this business of arresting hundreds and hundreds of people and locking them up, that must stop. We don't want it. And we must make it clear. I saw Ostalos was over there, but it's not enough for Ostalos to go there by himself. We need all the people to participate and make sure that when these things happen, you speak up. And also support the efforts that we're making to make sure that there is a light on these issues. We want a strong media which is able to speak out on a daily basis. That is why you see me streaming twice a day. And that is why a lot of you guys come over here. Yesterday, we had one of the most massive days response to what happened. And I can tell that you're all engaged. But we need to go to that next step. Take out the fear and let's make our country amazing. Let's make our country great. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you very much. And I really want to look at this comment. Come back, Gambakwe. They put dogs there. Let's plan new place. No, I'm not scared at all. Myself, I'm so free. And Zambia, ndichakudzai kuti vanhu veZambia vakaita sei. Zvinonakidza zvimwe zvekuti mukazvinzwa, you will not believe it. That's why I'm telling you the Zambian government is very professional. I've got great respect for President Hakainde Hichilema and everything that is done here in Zambia to change this country to what it is right now. You can say a lot about Zambia, but one thing I can tell you is that Zambia is a great example of a country that is being well managed. And I'm not saying this out of lack of knowledge. I've been in Zambia almost 10 times. I've flown into Zambia almost 10 times over the past 2 years. This is like my second home now. I come here all the time. And I've driven to what you call Kariba so many times, like from here. And I like this place. It's doing very, very well. And if you're able to invest, come and invest over here, and you do well in Zambia. In fact, if you are given a choice to invest in South Africa or in Zambia, I would say come to Zambia and invest here. It's actually a better place to invest your money, less pressure, and there's a lot happening here. You can use this as your best. Right, so I would like to thank you. Mkoma Jaros Madzoka. You're saying Mrs. Mnangagwa's Belarus trip was successful. Watch it on TV. Don't tell lies, Mr. Gambakwe. And try to run away from giving an update on Zambia started protests. Yes, I can't give you an update on Zambia started protests because, as you know, I'm still getting a case will go court over the same issue. But in very, very soon. So, Mkoma Jaros, let's take that for another day. I will invite you to come here and talk to me. Tell me how. I know you like to talk well about Auxilia Mnangagwa, but she just makes me laugh. I mean, every time I see her, I can see Kuti, she's getting nowhere with these whole plans of hers. In fact, I think Kuti Opa is much better. Opa would do much better than Auxilia in terms of if it comes up a competition. Toti Auxilia or Opa would do better than Auxilia because Opa at least agarwa you understand? So this is the situation, and Opa is very close. She's in the presidium. So I don't know how Auxilia hopes to become the president of Zimbabwe. You understand? It's baffling to me, Kuti. How can she imagine Kuti Achaba from first lady with a president? Has she gone? So I'd like to thank all of you for your support. Please go to formojana.com. We need some more donations. We need to raise $800 for the flights for Zimbabwe. That is going to happen on the 17th of August. And Mnangagwa, my plans is ekundibata, siya my plans iwayo. And deep pap. Inini ndukuta basa rangu. And batwe. So thank you very much everyone for watching. I really appreciate all your support. And I would like to end it here. I'll give you an update of what will be happening later today. Around 9:10, I'll let you know what would have happened today. Thank you very much and a good day.